Hey guys, welcome to our new virtual classroom. So today we're going to be doing empirical formulas, which is just building upon what we learned yesterday with percent composition. And so the real goal here is TEK 8B. We just want to make sure we can understand the difference between empirical, and then tomorrow I'll teach you molecular formulas. So I don't know if you've ever seen NCIS, but this girl right here, her name is Abby. She's a lab tech in this crime scene show. And what she does is they bring her a substance from a crime scene and she squirts this substance into a gas chromatographer. And what it does is it gives her a list of all the chemicals and substances or chemicals that were in that substance. And so we're going to do that today, but without a gas chromatography machine. You're going to be the gas chromatography machine. So this is really used in a lot of crime scene investigation stuff is when we would use this in the real world. So it's pretty easy, especially since I'm giving you the percent compositions today. You don't have to calculate them. So what we're going to do is we're going to write formulas based on the percent masses that are given. So our first step is right here. We're going to take the percent and divide it by the atomic mass on the periodic table. We're then going to choose out of which element has the smallest answer, and we're going to divide each answer by that smallest number. So for an example today, I'm going to use carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and I'm giving you the percentages of them. So for instance, if I got a substance from a crime scene, I know that it's 39% carbon, 6.73% hydrogen, and 53.28% oxygen. So I want to find out what is the formula of the substance so I can figure out exactly what it is. So we're going to be using this periodic table of elements. So the first thing we need to do is find carbon on here. It's right here. Find hydrogen and find oxygen right here. Now I just brought these numbers over from the previous slide. I'm telling you what percentages I have of each carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that number and divide it by the mass on the periodic table. So for carbon, I had 39.99%. I go over here and I look, and my mass is 12.01. For hydrogen, I gave you 6.73%. I'm going to divide that by the mass on the periodic table, 1.00. And for oxygen, I gave you 53.28. I'm going to look at the mass right here is 15.99. So I'm going to divide by the mass on the periodic table. Okay, that's it so far. Once I plug those into the calculator, this is what I get. And notice I am using several significant figures here. In other words, I'm going a few decimal places in so I can compare my numbers more accurately. If I were to round on this, it wouldn't be as accurate, and we need a little bit more precision for what we're doing today. So I need to compare these numbers. And my next step is to figure out which one of these is the smallest. Okay, now if you look, there's two that are very similar. Percent of carbon and percent of oxygen are very similar. This one is 3.330 and this one is 3.332. So you have to ask yourself, okay, which one of those is a smaller number? In this case, it's the carbon. So each one of these answers is going to get divided by the smallest number right here. So I've gone ahead and done that. I went divided by 3.330. Then I divide this answer by 3.330. And I do the same thing for the last one. And when I end up plugging this into the calculator, I end up getting the answer 1, 2, and 1. And yes, you can round for these. Now, I need to write a formula based off of this. This tells me my subscript for my carbon. This number tells me my subscript for my hydrogen. And this number tells me my subscript for my oxygen. So if I were to write this all out, I end up with C1H2O1, or you can just have CH2O, because remember, you don't have to write the ones. I do encourage you to write the ones just for today, just so you can kind of see this. And this is how we do empirical formulas. So we're going to practice doing two problems. I encourage you to use scratch paper, whatever you have around you, to show your work. Our first problem we're going to do is 38.7% potassium, 13.9% nitrogen, and 47.4% oxygen. I would like you to calculate the empirical formula from these percent compositions. The next problem we're going to do has 60% magnesium in it and 40% oxygen. So take a moment and on a scratch sheet of paper, calculate what would be the empirical formula based on these percentages. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Tomorrow we're going to be moving on to our next subject.